The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing out there today? It's Wednesday. It's March the 19th. You know what Wednesday means? That's right. It's Where Are They Now Wednesdays here on the Missouri Sports Network with Playing on Sports on Kent Mueller. And reminder, hey, you're watching the original Where Are They Now Wednesday. Don't be fooled by the Johnny-come-latelys or some other imposter. Playing on Sports and the Missouri Sports Network are your sources for what Missouri high school talent does, not only when they're in high school, but when they get to the national stage of the NCAA. No one has more information for you than we do. We really appreciate your attention and loyalty. And hey, you know what I'm going to ask you? Do me a favor. Do us a favor. Hey, tell one friend. Tell one friend about Where Are They Now Wednesdays in the Missouri Sports Network. Just pass it on. Hit the like button on Facebook or go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, and then you'll be at the top of the list. You'll know as much as anybody else in the state of Missouri does about these high school collegiate athletes. Hey, send us a comment. If you've got something that you're interested in or you would like to hear about, hey, leave us a note. Sign up to follow us on Twitter or email us at playingonsports@gmail.com or Missouri Sports Network @gmail.com. Hey, are you ready? I'm ready. Hey, let's get it going here. Let's kick the tires and light the fires and get underway. Kent, what did we talk about last week and what's coming up this week?
Well, last week we brought to you 22 Missouri-grown athletes who have earned at least one and as many as 4 conference postseason honors. We will continue recognizing these outstanding feats by our Missouri high school grads. We will also look to see which Missouri athletes are dancing in March Madness, both men and women. I have them all for you. But first, a message from our sponsors.
Hi, I'll have the avocado toast minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Yeah. Everything is so expensive these days.
Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck.
And a high-tech Chevy SUV.
Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together, we can do more.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start?
Here, in the classroom.
On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Hey, welcome back to Where Are They Now Wednesdays here on the Missouri Sports Network with Kent Mueller from Playing on Sports. And as always, presented by RBW Agricultural Farm Equipment, sales home of the Rancher Hydraulic Cattle Baron, Heritage and Legacy Cattle Chutes. RBW Agriculture carries curated lines of new livestock handling equipment, front-end loader attachments, and is the #1 dealer in the United States for Ironcraft Flex Wing rotary cutters. We care about not only the safety of our customers, but their livestock, bringing efficient equipment to the market, making high-quality equipment affordable for more farmers and ranchers, and the integrity of our words and conduct. Find us in Bolivar and Moberly, or find them at rbwag.com. And here we go, Kent. It's off to the races.
All right. Before we get to those Missourians in the Division I tournaments, I will get back to some conference honors. And I will start out with Serena Sundell. She's a senior guard out of Maryville High, playing Division I basketball at Kansas State University in the Big 12 Conference. Serena was named to the Big 12 Conference first team. This was a repeat performance as she was named to the first team last year, too. On a crowded roster, Serena was that player you want on the court. She has logged the most minutes of any Wildcat this year. Her 13.6 points is the second most on the team, where she is very efficient with field goal shooting, just under 500 from the floor, and free throw shooting just under 800. Serena grabs 4.5 rebounds per game, a third of those on the offensive side. And her 233 assists weren't just the best in the Big 12, they are the second most in all of Division I. Serena's 782 career assists are the second most in Kansas State history, just 18 behind the leader. A trip to the Sweet 16 just might do it for the former Spoof Hound. Bella Fauntleroy is a junior guard out of Kickapoo High, playing Division I basketball at Baylor University, also in the Big 12 Conference. Bella was named honorable mention in the Big 12 Conference and to the Big 12 All-Defensive Team. Bella has started all 34 games for the Bears. She is scoring 9.2 points and grabbing 5.6 rebounds per game. She has the team's third most steals and is second high in block shots with 38. In additional information, Baylor will first play Grand Canyon University in the tournament. Molly Mueller, the head coach at Grand Canyon, is also, like Bella, a Kickapoo High graduate, having graduated in 2004. Jalen Glenn is a senior guard out of Barstow, playing Division I basketball at Kansas State University. Jalen has been named honorable mention in the Big 12 Conference. As has been typical of her four-year career as a Wildcat, Jalen has started all 33 games so far this year, logging the second most minutes on the court, close behind Serena Sundell of Maryville High. She is averaging 9.7 points and 4.1 boards per game. An excellent shooter, Jalen is shooting 488 from the floor, including 439 from beyond the arc and 762 from the free throw line. She has 99 assists, which gives her a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Jalen's 55 steals for the year gives her 260 career steals, fourth on the all-time career Kansas State list. And there's Reagan Williams. She is a freshman forward out of Park Hill South, playing Division I basketball at the University of Kansas. Reagan was named to the Big 12 Conference All-Freshman team. Reagan came on strong to have an excellent first year in Division I. She averaged 9.0 points per game while pulling down 4.9 boards. The 6'3" forward made 53% of her shots from the floor. Her 26 steals and 15 blocked shots rounded out a well-played first year in collegiate competition. Now we'll take a look at the men's Division I NCAA tournament. And there are 20 Missourians in the men's Division I tournament. They play on 13 teams and are seeded as high as a number 3 seed. Let's take a look to see who they are. Creighton University is the number 9 seed in the South Regional. They are in the tournament as an at-large team with a 24-10 overall record and 15 wins and 5 losses in the Big East Conference. They will open up with number 8 seed Louisville. Playing for Creighton is Ryan Kalkbrenner, a senior center out of Trinity Catholic. Iowa State University is the number 3 seed in the South Regional. They are in the tournament as an at-large team with a 24-9 overall record and 13 wins and 7 losses in the Big 12 Conference. They will open up with number 14 seed Lipscomb University. Playing for Iowa State, Caden Fish, a redshirt freshman forward out of Staley, Keyshawn Gilbert, a senior guard out of Vashon, and Conrad Hawley, a senior forward out of Raymore Peculiar. And Iowa State's opponent is Lipscomb University, which is in the South Regional, is the South Regional number 14 seed. The Bisons produced an overall record of 25 wins and 9 losses. In conference play, they were 14-4. They earned their way into the tournament by winning the Atlantic Sun Conference tournament. Playing for the Bison is Miles White, a junior guard out of Rockhurst High. The University of Arizona is the number 4 seed in the East Regional. They are in the tournament as an at-large team out of the Big 12 Conference. The Wildcats have an overall record of 22-6. In conference play, they recorded 14 wins versus 6 losses. Arizona will open up against the number 14 seeded Akron Zips. Playing for Arizona is Caleb Love, a fifth-year guard out of Christian Brothers. Virginia Commonwealth University is the number 11 seed in the East Regional. VCU is representing the Atlantic 10 Conference as its champion. The Rams have an overall record of 28 wins and 6 losses. They finished 15-3 in conference play. Playing for Virginia Commonwealth is Philip Russell. He's a graduate student guard out of Vashon. The University of Oklahoma is the number 9 seed in the West Regional. They are an at-large selection with an overall record of 20 wins and 13 losses. The Sooners finished 6-12 in the conference. Oklahoma will meet up with number 8 seeded and 2-time defending national champion UConn. And playing for Oklahoma is Luke Northweather, redshirt sophomore forward out of Blair Oaks. Earning the Mountain West Conference automatic bid is Colorado State University. The Rams are 25-9 overall this year with a conference record of 16 wins and 4 losses. Colorado State is the 12th seed in the West Regional and will face off with the number 5 seeded Memphis Tigers. Playing for Colorado State is Kyan Evans. He's a sophomore guard out of Staley. And the 6th seed versus the 11th seed match in the West Regional is really interesting to this show. Full disclosure here, back in the day, my tuition dollars were cashed in Manhattan, Kansas. I have now lived half my life in the state of Missouri. From the time I started playing on sports in this podcast, my efforts have nothing to do with sports from the viewpoint of the colleges and universities. Rather, this podcast focuses on the success of Missouri high school graduates as they compete in the NCAA. Any of the 1,100 colleges and universities of the NCAA. If a Missouri high school grad is competing at one of those schools, I will find them and I will bring those results and stories to you. That clarification was made necessary because I know this audience has many fans of the University of Missouri. That's pure logic. But given the purpose of this show, I am not looking at this game and seeing gold and black. I'm looking at this 6-11 matchup, and I see Missouri high school graduates, but only on one roster. Missouri is the number 6 seed in this bracket. They have an amazing year going from 0-18 in SEC conference play a year ago to a 6th seed this year. But oddly, no Missouri graduates are on this roster. I will note that over half of the Tigers' points and the top 3 scorers originate from west of the state line in Kansas. But that is a topic for a different podcast. Now, to focus on the West Regional number 6 seed as they go up against the number 11 seed. The number 6 seed is the University of Missouri as an at-large selection from the Southeastern Conference with that overall record of 22 wins and 11 losses and 10-8 in the conference. Their opponent is Drake University. Drake earned the Missouri Valley Conference automatic bid by sweeping their postseason tournament. The Bulldogs are 30-3 overall and were 17-3 in conference play. Drake's roster, despite being in Iowa, has a whole host of Missouri-honed talent. They are Daniel Abreu. He's a graduate student forward out of Willard. Cale Combs, a sophomore guard out of Nixa. Isaiah Howard, a freshman guard out of Plattsburgh. Isaiah Jackson, a graduate student guard out of William Chrisman. Cam Manawu, a sophomore forward out of Staley. And Bennett Sturtz, a junior guard out of Liberty. Across the state line, we find an unusual occupant of a 7 seed. The University of Kansas is the 7th seed of the West Division. The Jayhawks are an at-large selection from the Big 12 Conference. They were 21-12 overall and had 11 wins and 9 losses in the conference. They will open against the number 10 seed, the University of Arkansas. On the roster for the University of Kansas is DeJuan Harris Jr. He's a graduate student guard out of Rock Bridge. Their opponent, the University of Arkansas, is an at-large conference. The Razorbacks were 13 overall this year. For high. The University at Omaha will be representing the Summit League as its conference champion. The Mavericks are 22-12 overall, and they finished their conference with 13 and 3 losses. As the West Regional number 15 seed, they will open against the number 2 seed, the Red Storm of St. John's University. Playing for the Mavericks is he's a junior guard out of Sound City. Now we will move on to the Midwest Regional. Xavier University is an at-large selection out of the Big East Conference. Musketeers were 21-11 overall and finished their conference season with 13 wins and 7 losses. Xavier is in the Midwest Regional, but will have to play in the first 4 as an 11 seed against another 11 seed, the University of Texas. Playing for Xavier is Cam Fletcher, a graduate student forward out of Vashon. And as we finish up with the Midwest region, we will look at Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. The Cougars are representing the Ohio Valley Conference as its champion, having won the postseason tournament. They have an overall record of 22 wins and 11 losses, and were 13-7 in conference play. Being in the number 16 seed, they will open against the number 1 seed, Houston. Playing for Southern Illinois at Edwardsville is Brian Taylor II. He is a junior guard out of De Smet. And that wraps us up for the Missouri talent who will be competing. And before we take a look at who have led their NCAA team to the postseason women's tournament, we'll take a quick break. We'll get to update you on Missouri milestones, get to those Missouri women who are competing on into the season.
The Walnut Street Inn is located in the heart of Springfield on historic Walnut Street, just blocks away from the Missouri State campus, Hammons Field, Great Southern Arena, and downtown Springfield. The Walnut Street Inn features newly remodeled rooms, breakfast served daily, and a friendly, accommodating staff. The Walnut Street Inn is also a great venue for private events. Book your stay or get more information at walnutstreetinn.com or call 417-864-6346.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank.
Hey, welcome back to Where Are They Now Wednesdays here on the Missouri Sports Network. Certainly glad you've tuned in. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us, hey, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Kate, you mentioned the Missouri milestones. Tell the folks just a little bit about what that is all about.
Well, Missouri Milestones is the overall name for a group of lists that we're developing. The first 2 being boys list and girls list for career 1,000-point scores of Missouri high school players. And he's the earliest one on the list for the men, and for the women, the list starts in 1957. So we're looking for everybody in yesteryears who have scored 1,000 points, and we're looking, of course, for those who are crossing that threshold this year and each year going forward.
And that list has continued to grow.
We have now over 1,400. We're starting to bump up against 1,500 total on the 2 lists. I don't know how many we're going to get. But obviously it's in the thousands already, and that's just going to continue to grow. And we're seeing a lot of enthusiasm out there with people sending in the names and numbers that pertain to their high school. So we're going to get up there in some pretty high numbers, I think.
And where can people find this list?
They can follow me on X at @plain_sports. Also, they can follow Scoreboard Guy and find it there. You will find me frequently updating this during the week as I get more information. And then I will announce that new information and send it out with the Missouri Milestones logo, so it'll be easy to find.
And what are we asking people to do that they can help? Because I know we've had a lot of interest in this list, and folks have been just reaching out to us almost on a daily basis as they're adding people to this list. So what if folks that are watching right now, what do they need to do, or how can they help us?
Well, I would like to say I would know everybody on this list or that deserves to be on this list, and I would just make that list and publish it. But I don't know those people, and nobody knows all of them. But everybody out there knows someone that should be on the list, and collectively we can make this a great list. So all people have to do is that if they know somebody that has scored 1,000 points, send me the name, the high school, the graduation year, and those total points that they scored. Also, if you don't know, but you graduated from a Missouri high school, look through that list. And if I have some from your school, that doesn't mean I have them all. So please forward this to someone you know at your high school, the athletic director or the coach, and say, hey, here's a list. Send to this email address, playingonsports@gmail.com. Send our school's list to there. And together we can work on this, and we will quickly make this a much larger list.
Outstanding. Well, coming up after our final break here today, we'll get to meet one of those young ladies who participated in Missouri high school sports in the early 1980s. She graduated in 1982. Kim Scammon will join us here on Where Are They Now Wednesdays, and she'll talk about what it was like to play basketball back in the late 70s and early 80s here in Missouri, and we're continuing to track some more of those folks down. So after the last commercial break, hey, stick around, and you'll get to visit one of those members of the 1,000 career points on the women's side.
And now we can move on to the Women's Division I NCAA tournament. Because of the structure of the women's tournament, there are 2 regionals instead of 4. The top 16 seeds overall host the first 2 rounds of the tournament. This year, the women's Sweet 16 is split between Spokane, Washington, and Birmingham, Alabama. There are 14 Missouri women in the tournament competing for 9 schools, and they are, once again, the Baylor Bears are in the tournament, this time as an at-large selection. Overall, the Bears are 27-7 and garnered 15 conference wins versus only 3 losses. As the Spokane number 4 seed, they will first play the number 13 seed, Grand Canyon University. And playing for Baylor is Bella Fauntleroy, the junior guard out of Kickapoo. The North Carolina Greensboro Spartans are in the tournament, representing the Southern Conference as its champion. The Spartans have an overall record of 25 wins and 6 losses. Their conference record was near perfect at 13-1. All of that resulted in a number 16 seed. They will meet up with number 1 seed Southern California on the roster. On the roster for North Carolina Greensboro is Tasia Johnson. She's a junior guard out of East Summit West. The Bulldogs of Mississippi State are in the tournament. Mississippi State is 21-11 overall and finished with 7 wins and 9 losses in the conference. That earned them an at-large berth and a number 9 seed. They will get their tournament competition started when they face off against the number 8 seeded California Bears. And playing from Mississippi State is Chandler Prater. She's a graduate student guard out of North Kansas City High. Kansas State University is in the tournament with an overall record of 26 wins and 7 losses. They finished their Big 12 conference season with 13 wins and 5 losses. They will take their number 5 seed on the road to a neutral court in Lexington, Kentucky to take on the number 12 seeded Fairfield Stags. On the roster for Kansas State are Briley Glenn. She's a senior guard out of Barstow, as is her twin, Jalen Glenn, also a senior guard out of Barstow. Eliza Maupin is a junior guard out of Webster Groves, and Serena Sundell is a senior guard out of Maryville. The Kentucky Wildcats are in the tournament. They have accumulated an overall record of 22 wins and 7 losses. In conference this year, the Wildcats finished with 11 wins versus 5 losses. That earned Kentucky an at-large berth. Their number 4 seed will allow them to host the first 2 rounds. Up first for them will be number 13 seeded, the Liberty Flames. On the Kentucky roster is Sanaya Tyler. She's a junior guard out of Incarnate Word Academy. Murray State also is working to get to Spokane. By winning their conference tournament, the Racers will be representing the Missouri Valley Conference. Murray State has an overall record of 25 wins and only 7 losses. Their conference record is 16-4. That has earned them an 11 seed. They will open their tournament by facing the number 6 seeded Iowa Hawkeyes. On the Racer roster are Grace Billington, a freshman guard out of Moberly, and Adeline Kelling, a freshman forward out of Helias. Our final Division I Missouri athletes are working to get to the Sweet 16 in Birmingham, Alabama. By defeating Lindenwood University in the conference tournament championship game, Tennessee Tech will represent the Ohio Valley Tournament in the Big Dance. The Golden Eagles have an overall record of 26 wins and 5 losses. Their conference record was 18 wins against only 2 defeats. That championship earned Tennessee Tech a 16 seed. Their opponent will be a number 1 seeded South Carolina. On the Tennessee Tech roster, you will find Megan Albert. She's a redshirt freshman forward out of Lutheran North. Creighton University will be representing the Big East Conference as an at-large selection. The Blue Jays have accumulated an overall record of 26 wins and 6 losses. Creighton finished 16-2 in conference play. The Blue Jays were awarded a number 9 seed. Up first for Creighton is number 8 seeded Illinois. On the Blue Jay roster are Brooke Luttrell, she's a graduate student guard out of Green City, and Kennedy Townsend, a junior guard out of Park Hill. Our final Missourian in the women's Division I tournament will be on the sidelines, but not on the floor. Surgery took care of that after Game 5. Her Nebraska Cornhuskers are in the tournament as an at-large selection from the Big Ten Conference. The Huskers have an overall record of 21 wins versus 11 losses. During their conference season, they accumulated 10 wins and 8 losses. Nebraska will take their number 7 seed and face off with number 10 seeded Louisville. The Missourian on Nebraska's roster, and who was the Big Ten Conference Freshman of the Year a season ago, is Natalie Potts, a sophomore guard out of Incarnate Word.
Well, what a great time of year here it is across the country with all the tournaments going on. You've got the men's Final Four going on. You've got the women's Final Four going on. Tournaments getting ready to get started. I apologize. Some of those start tonight. But on the Division II and Division III level, the tournaments are well underway. Who are on some of those rosters?
Well, yes, there are Missouri grads on rosters of the teams that remain in the hunt for Division II and Division III titles, both men and women. In the men's Division II, Missouri started out with homegrown talent on 3 teams in the tournament, and 6 athletes remain on 2 teams. Washburn University defeated Harding University and Concordia St. Paul to arrive in the Sweet 16, where they will face Minnesota State University at Moorhead. That game is being played tonight and will be completed by the time this airs on Wednesday morning. Playing for Washburn is Braden Shorter. He's a sophomore guard out of Kickapoo. Missouri St. Louis defeated Ferris State and then upset Missouri S&T to arrive in the Sweet 16, where they will face Lake Superior State. On the Missouri St. Louis roster are Ethan Chartrand. He's a junior forward out of Webster Groves. Matt Enright is also a junior, and he's a guard out of Webster Groves. Terrell Kabbalah, he's a junior guard out of Webb City. Quentin Parker is a freshman guard out of Cardinal Ritter, and Zay Purvey is a freshman forward out of Webster Groves. The women's Division II tournament, there are 9 Missouri grads on 5 rosters. 1 team remains in the women's Elite 8. That would be Pittsburgh State. The Gorillas defeated Harding and Minnesota State in the first 2 rounds, and on Monday evening, they came from behind to win at the very end over Southwest Minnesota State. Playing for Pittsburgh State are Destiny Burge. She's a sophomore guard out of Carl Junction. Savannah Campbell, a junior forward out of Rolla. Macy Mays, a sophomore guard out of El Dorado Springs. Hannah Nilges, a senior guard out of Jefferson City. And Clara Swearingen, a freshman guard out of Nevada. In the men's Division III, There were 8 Missouri grads who made it to the tournament. They were spread out over 4 rosters from Illinois Wesleyan to Central in Iowa to Emory to Denison University. Unfortunately, those teams did not make it to the Final Four. In women's Division III, there were 2 teams in the tournament with Missouri talent. One of those athletes remained in the Final Four, New York University. And this special athlete went undefeated on her way to the national title last year, and they are undefeated this year with 2 games remaining. New York University has defeated Gallaudet University, Trinity College, State University of New York at Geneseo, and Gettysburg College. They will now face the University of Wisconsin at Stout in the national semifinals. On that New York University roster is Natalie Bruns. She's a graduate student forward out of Kirkwood. And that wraps it up with where Missouri talent is in the NCAA postseason.
And that'll put into a very extensive list here, but we still encourage you, hey, stay around after the break. There'll be a short 15-second break here with Chevy dealers from Chevrolet, and we'll come back and we'll visit with Kim Scammon off of our Missouri milestones list here from Rockport High School, 1982 graduate. Back after this.
Step into the new when you drive a Chevy. It's time for a fresh approach and a new perspective, and find the Chevy that's right for you. Find new experiences, find new roads. Chevrolet.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Where They Now Wednesday, an extended version of Where They Now Wednesday. Guy Newcomb alongside Kent Mueller, and it's a great pleasure to welcome to the show from Topeka, Kansas, but not a Topekian by birthright, but from Brockport High School, home of the Blue Jays, a graduate member of the Missouri Milestones Career 1000 list, Miss Kim Scammon. Kim, thanks so much for joining us today.
Appreciate you having me on.
And to be a member, there's no secret handshakes. You don't have to get through the matron at the door. You just have to have scored 1,000 points, and you did well over that in your career at Rockport High School going back to 1982. What do you remember about your time in high school playing basketball?
Basketball was the number one sport that I played. I came up playing against a lot of boys. There just weren't, as we kind of talked about, wasn't much with the girls in those times. We were just really getting started. We were still using the big basketball. We're still using the boys basketball. And I think a lot of people probably even forget that kind of thing, but the ball didn't change size for quite some time later on. And so that was difficult in its own right. But we played a lot of ball on the playground that's right next to my house. High school boys would come over and they graciously let me play along with them at a younger age. And so I learned how to play ball against some guys back in that day. So,
well, your freshman year would have been that 1978-79 season.
Mm-hmm.
There, talk a little bit about what it was like coming in, because you're only removed from Title IX, not even a decade. What was it like to get to play?
Yeah, it was interesting. The guys got first choice at the gym. We had what we called our multi-purpose room that we did a lot of practicing down there. And when the guys were done, we'd come down to the big gym and play. Sometimes we'd have early morning practices, 6 o'clock before school time. That we didn't do as much of that, but we did have to share the gym, and it was a little bit of a strain from time to time.
Looking back at just the history, and with Misha, their history goes back as far as titles, just goes back to 2000, 2008 to 2009, which isn't that long ago. But going back, you had an opportunity, I believe your junior year, to participate in the Final Four at Columbia. What was that like?
It was an exciting time. It was very much a whirlwind when we did it. We didn't have the best record going into district play, and we were actually had the luck of the draw. Basically, we had gone to Class 2A, so if we'd been in 1A, we would hit some really powerhouse teams and probably wouldn't have got where we got. But we were lucky enough to have gotten into 2A, and we just kind of hit a streak where we played well at the end. I think our overall season record was like 19-7, so we were just like 13-6 before we even got started into the playoffs, and we just got kind of on a roll. I got hot scoring wise, and we just went bang bang bang, and we didn't have much time to enjoy it until we got down there. But it was a very exciting time, unusual because of course we'd never been there before, so we had the town and fans behind us too. But it was definitely a whirlwind.
As you look back at that time in high school, what did you guys do, on the weekends or the evenings where you weren't playing basketball? What was the music? I've been playing a little Statler Brothers here in my studio today. Big Statler Brother fan. The movie. What was the population of Rockport School at that time? How many folks were in your graduating class?
My class actually had one of the bigger classes in Rockport, and we had 53, I believe it was, that actually graduated. So most of the classes were down in the mid to low 40s. Overall population of the high school, it had to be over the 200 and some mark, I think, for us to be up in the 2A. But small town, 1,500 when I was growing up. There wasn't a lot of things going on, a lot of driving up and down Main Street. I think a lot of kids did that sort of thing. We lived on the end of the main street, so that was the turnaround area. So we'd see a lot of cars. But weekends, even if it wasn't basketball season, we were out playing basketball on the church lot that was next to my house. That was kind of the gathering spot for anybody that wanted to shoot baskets. That's kind of where everybody hung out.
Well, I grew up in a town very similar out in Kansas, so I can identify with all of that. I had 46 in my high school class. That was the biggest up until then and the biggest since. And they now have fewer than 70. But they just won this last weekend. The girls not only they followed up their volleyball state championship in the lowest class with a girls basketball championship. So they like to play ball there too. And I'm curious, from that background, your transition into college basketball at Northwest Missouri State. You went there and made as big an impression there as you did in high school. If you tell us a little bit about that transition and what that was like.
Yeah, the transition was it was different for sure. Just going to a bigger that I had other offers places. That was just kind of the local place. I knew my parents and grandparents would be able to come see me play and that sort of thing. But what I remember going over there, my coach was Wayne Winstead, and he was a very easygoing, very likable, easy to talk to kind of guy. And it made you feel like a family once we got there. And all the girls, they were, I'm still good friends with most of them. They all took us in as freshmen, and we did a lot of preseason playing and just got knowing each other, and we just all kind of meshed. And my freshman year, we only had 2 seniors, so we didn't lose a lot, and we had a so-so season that year. But this year we actually we won our 20 games, I think it was, before we ever lost one, and then lost that one to Creighton, and then we actually qualified for the Division II NCAA tournament at that time, which was we hadn't been NCAA, I think, maybe just a couple of years. I believe it was around 79 that they went from NAIA up to or AW up to NCAA. So that was an exciting time at that point too.
Well, who was your biggest rival? I don't know about bitterest, but the biggest rival in high school and the biggest rival in college?
Biggest rival in high school would have been Tarkio High School, 8 miles away from us there, so to speak. And I mean, it was just a knockout drag out every time we played them. In fact, my senior year in high school, we were 18-4, and we lost all 4 of those to Tarkio, probably within a total of 12 points probably all 4 games. So they were just nip and tuck, but they got the best of us there. In college, it would have been Central Missouri State University at Warrensburg at that time. The year we did qualify for nationals, they actually won the national championship, and I think we were the last team that actually beat them that year. And I think it was double or triple overtime that we played them up there in Maryville.
Kim, as you look at the basketball landscape today compared to, when you played, and obviously a lot of changes, as you mentioned, the ball size, went down to the 26.5 ball size. Plus they've added the 3-pointer 4 years after you graduated. What else are some of the changes that you see that have taken place? And are you still a fan of the game? And you get an opportunity to be a fan either in person or via television?
Yeah, I watch basketball all the time, whether it's college. I don't get to see as many school games as I did go up and see the teams play in the quarterfinals because they hosted girls there. So doing that, some nieces that play basketball and a young nephew that plays elementary type basketball. So I get to see those. Biggest difference I see is it's a lot more physical than when I played. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I think there's a lot more athletes out there too. I see a lot more, back when I was playing, dribbling behind your back and between your legs was considered kind of showboating kind of stuff. It's not now, and I can see why. It's a very useful tool. But I think the physicality of it, one thing that I feel, though, I don't feel that there's as much emphasis on shooting good shots, that sort of thing. That's just personal opinion. It's like getting shots up. It's more quantity versus quality sometimes. But if they go in half the time, it's still 50%. You can miss your first. My dad always said you can miss your first 10 shots, but you can also make your next 10. So you can't quit shooting, that sort of thing. As long as they're good shots, I think that's the biggest thing. But I do wish they had the 3-pointer back when I played, and it came out. Like I said, I think it was 86. So I was done playing the year after I got done playing. And then,
I was going to ask you that question, if your point total would have been higher if they had the 3-point line, and it sounds like it would have been.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been. I shot a lot of pull-up jump shots, which again is something I don't see as much nowadays. It's either 3-pointer, seems like, and I don't think emphasis on the mid-range shot, but I did shoot a lot of pull-up jump shots, free throw, 15-footers, that kind of thing. But I had my fair share of the 3-pointers, especially once I got to college. I was a point guard there. In high school, I was kind of more of a shooting guard, but I still would have had a few more points anyhow.
Again, we are visiting with our 1982 graduate of Rockport High School and a member of the Missouri Career Milestones list on the Career 1000 list, Kim Scammon. And Kim, as you look back, and I find myself doing this as well, is there one game maybe from your high school level or at the college level where you'd really like to go back and play that game again because maybe it got away from you, or maybe it was a game that you felt like you should have won, or maybe it was just the most fun game that you had, or maybe it was the day you went over 1,000 points? Are there games that stick out that you still replay in your mind?
Always a handful. There for a while until I've gotten older here. I could almost remember every game that we ever played before and everything else. But in high school, the game I'd like to have back is the very last one. Of course, everybody doesn't want to lose their last game, but we again, it was against Tarkio, and we were in the district finals, and we changed the way we had played the whole year on that. We played more of a slow down game, and the score was indicative of that. We both teams usually scored in the 50s or 60s back then, but this game was like a 34-32 game, and I would definitely like to have that one back and play our regular style of game and see how that played out there, because it was kind of sour grapes the way we lost that one. And there's a same way in college. There was when we played Creighton, we lost that. We were 20-0 and we lost that one. There was things that happened in that game that you wished hadn't. I can remember the last shot was a half court shot. I took a half court shot because it was, that's all we had left, and it was like somebody stuck their hand up. That ball had gone in. It would have been a whole different type of season. And there's some good games that happened that I kind of replay, and I may kind of give it to my nieces and nephews about how good a game it might have been. Because the quarterfinal game before we went to state, I had probably the best shooting night I had ever had, and I missed one shot. I was like 17 for 18 from the field and 11 for 12 from the free throw line, and so I have to give them digs every now and then of what they have to live up to, in my opinion.
45 points if my math is correct, but
47. I think it was 47. I can't remember. It must have been 70. Yeah, I think it was 47 points. I may have missed my. It was 18 out of 19. I'm sorry. It was 18 out of 19. 11 out of missed one.
You're better than you remember.
Yeah.
H go the other way.
Yeah.
You have a final question? Any final questions here?
Well, what I find fascinating is the detail that you're able to come up with off the top of your head. And I think that's why we all like sports, and we like high school sports. And those of us like Guy and myself, we keep running into people that had a great experience in high school. And then it's a real joy to me to be around younger kids coming through and experiencing that live as they're in their youth. So just really appreciate your time, and even more than that, we appreciate hearing about how you played in high school and college. That's terrific.
Well, I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me on. It kind of lets me, gosh darn it, relive the glory days. Bella, relive the a little bit, and I'm living through my nieces now that football. I've got one especially that she plays it year round, and she's got some talent there, so I hope to see her playing on down the road too.
Excellent.
Very good. Well, again, it's been an honor and a privilege to get to visit with you, Kim, and maybe we can do it again and get some more folks from the panel in that age group, that graduation group, and visit and talk a little bit more about women's basketball in the early parts of Title IX.
Yep, that sounds like a good plan.
All right. You've been watching Where Are They Now Wednesdays here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow.
Hi, I'll have the avocado toast minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Yeah. Everything is so expensive these days.
Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck. And a high-tech Chevy SUV. Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together we can do more.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start?
Here, in the classroom.
On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Be great.